guys. With this one right here, we didn't got something around this one, but you got Suffer with Gigs, Tion Wayne, Tion Wayne, and the whole Gigs and Tion Wayne with the Suffer. And what how I'm seeing it, especially with Gigs and Tion Wayne, they're coming into they're coming in something, executed, executed on. But you got Gigs and Tion Wayne with their whole executed thing, suffer, suffer, and the whole thing, especially with this whole thing, coming into it, them executed in, and then them having their whole, you know, disclaimer of, suffer.
Yo. AOD. Boom. Yo. Big back and I don't wanna share. She make it slap like she don't even care. Snitch boys get run out of it. Fuck that, get the fuck out of it. These internet guys best suffer. They can't even defend their brother. See him real life, can't even lock eyes. Coming like Stevie Wonder.
Turn off the lights and park up.
See him.
Ooh, what he said, like Stevie Wonder? Like he said the whole eyes and just like Stevie Wonder.
These internet guys best suffer. They can't even defend their brother. See him real life, can't even lock eyes. Coming like Stevie Wonder.
Oh, see him in real life, see him in his eyes, and then, with the whole Stevie one, hey, the whole thing, like, hey, especially how the whole thing is already, excluding itself, hey, they didn't, and then they in a tunnel too, so they doing that whole thing in a tunnel, so, it's something going on here, like, especially with the whole thing, it kind of looks like a tunnel, but, I might be, but this whole thing, it's already, he already got the whole thing of sounded relax.
Turn off the lights and park up, switch off the engine. You might have started that, but this ain't the ending. You can't depend on him, cause he ain't defending. And he ain't avenging, but that free it assembling. Listen to your album twice, and here go the review. We don't believe that shit, no, we don't believe you. You should delete that shit need a redo. I'm here with Tion Wayne, so we gon' relieve you.
From the 9, but we came with gigs. Sipping on Ciroc with a shrimp.
I'm here with Tion Wayne, so we gon' relieve you.
From the 9, but we.
Come on, let them know. Hey, let them know. I'm in the doof with. Hey, that right there was a clever one.
I'm here with Tion Wayne, so we gon' relieve you.
From the 9, but.
Ooh, I'm in the review with Tion Wayne, so we gonna reveal. Hey, like the whole thing, like, hey, just them even coming in, like them both having they both have their own kind of like stand on, parts. Like every part is like everyone has their own type of, part of a stand on lyrics and everything else, especially with, this whole thing, already standing like high.
But we came with gigs, sipping on Ciroc with a shrimp. Girl, I'm free in the duck told fibs. I don't give a fuck what you think. Pull up, fill up the Glock in a blink. You lay up the block in a glimpse. They see me in shot and it's win. We with it, we mock all the prints.
Time out, it's back to benches. Just grab a baseball bat and smash them senseless. Just pour that champagne out and splash my dentures. And no one wants to hear your whack adventures. Too disrespectful, and that's offensive. The target on you, your back, and that's offensive.
Hey, he said, is that's coming, how that's coming, and that's offensive, the whole thing, then, tune on, like, hey, the whole tune, hey, but, the whole thing, especially how the whole thing is, like, already loose skating and everything else, you got the light and the whole shine, like, them putting the whole thing, and everything else is just, going off itself, how the whole thing is already, exclamation off a thing, everything is, re-scoping.
Target on you, your back's expensive. She's mad intense, I'm apprehensive. Acquire exit, but smashing entrance.
Big back and I don't wanna share. She make it slap and she don't even care. Snitch boy get run out of it. Fuck that, get the fuck out of it. These internet guys best soft. care. Snitch boy get run out of it. Fuck that, get the fuck out of it. These internet guys we're suffer. They can't even defend their brother. Seeing real life, can't even lock eyes. Coming like Stevie Wonder. About come outside, tell my young boy, better bring a gun outside. My one love up crime, made them stay home way before quarantine. Chatting to his wifey, she won't come round. Didn't like me, she won't come round. But I just
And the whole thing, like he said, hey, shout out to the wife, to his wife. She wanna come around, and the whole thing, like even the whole thing, like just coming from a whole nother thing. And then he said, even his whole little part, like, hey, it does a little bit of a more extrusion, especially how his whole thing is already, for moving this, like, hey, he really, terror missing the whole thing. How every little lyrics is coming. It's like he just terrorizing the whole little beat, the whole senses and everything else, because he's really vectoring it.
to fight me, you got gunned down. If they come round there, they get run down.
Just up and I'm over. Bare weed in the room. I fuck with the odor. I'm back on the roller coaster. Come back when you're older. Some yak and a Coca-Cola. I'll Batman a Joker.
I got a length thing from Angola, body shaped like Coca-Cola. All my life I had the weight on my shoulder, so nowadays I stay alone. When I sleep, I'm making my raps. Gotta thank God I ain't in a trap. Dumb man face, they ain't had my back. And my unboss to you, and that's a fact.
Similar matches. You see when I catch him, I'm swinging them axes. Chick in my DM, it's really a catfish. Pussy on tap, I'm swimming in crutches.
Big back and I don't wanna share. She make it slap and she don't even care. Snitch boy get run out of it. Fuck that, get the fuck out of it. These internet guys we're suffer. They can't even defend their brother. Seeing real life, can't even lock eyes. Coming like Stevie Wonder.
Them logistics say that they sadistic. Yeah, if you front on man, street ballistics. Names they're listing down just ain't realistic. And she says I'm not wife, but make me a mistress. That they sadistic. Yeah, if you front on man, street ballistics. Names they're listing down just ain't real.
Oh, and the whole thing, he said ain't realistic. He said unstatistic. Like, you got the whole thing. Like, even them having their whole thing, like they got all type of parts, all type of things, especially where it was shot at too. It just so insanical too. To even see the whole thing where it was like comprehended at, and the whole thing was just social, because the whole thing, how the whole thing is already restriction. Like, it's already coming from a restriction. It's like they were in a restricted area doing their whole thing, because the way they coming, the way they consuming, they already have it on a whole punchables, constrict, especially with them having their whole thing. Like, they both put it on for both, both sides, both areas, of both Vincent.
Realistic. And she says I'm not wife, but make me a mistress. Jump in the car, lights on, switch on the engine. These niggas fail to fly, but gigs ain't a penguin. Hollow man's ride or die, but I'm sick of remembering. Yeah. Movie time, and this shit's only rendering. Mad at the mobsters. Just grab up my boxers. Suitcase full of drip. My baggage obnoxious. I'm sat in the office, just bagging the offers. But sat right across from these savage imposters.
Big back and I don't wanna share. She make it slap and she don't even care. Snitch boy get run out of it. Fuck that, get the fuck out of it. These internet guys we're suffer. They can't even defend their brother. Seeing real life, can't even lock eyes. Coming like Stevie Wonder.
Hey, that was a wild wonder right there. He said like Stevie Wonder and everything else, but you got the whole suffer and the main thing, especially with this one coming into it, Tion Wayne and everything else. Like, hey, you got them just coming in, especially how everything was, condoning and everything else, especially where it was made at and stuff like that with everything else. But you got the suffer, their main one coming into it, especially with Gigs and Tion Wayne, because they both make Jonic history. When it just comes to them two, and them two just coming into it. They got their whole into it thing. But you got the suffer with the whole music video and everything else, just with the whole thing coming up. acosterism, but just with the whole suffer, especially it looked like they were in a tunnel. I don't know where they were at, but maybe it was a queen house too, like something queeny. But hey, this was clever, just see this whole thing how they just did it. Like it was clever to see it. But make sure you guys definitely like, comment, subscribe, everything else, and just with this one, especially with the whole how the whole thing just went, but with everything else coming into it, and just this one.